Won't you take me back to Tennessee?
The award-winning Tennessee WildCast is on the air with the latest in hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and expert novice, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. We're glad you're tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We got an awesome show lined up for you today, and Mr. Barry Cross is my co-host.
Glad to be here.
Welcome in, Barry.
Looking forward to talking to these gentlemen right here.
Yeah, it's all about NWTF today. Should we introduce them or kind of leave it as a suspense for a minute?
Well, you know, you might have a familiar face here to some folks, and Jereme, wasn't so long ago you were actually wearing a uniform. And
that's correct. About a year and a half ago.
So at this point, I guess it's why don't you catch us up on what you're doing, and then we want to talk a little bit about where you came from, you know?
All right, yeah. So I left the agency in July of 24 and decided to hang up the green jeans and just spend more time with family and stuff. Started some companies and been doing that, and give me a lot more time to do all the fun stuff that I've been missing out on.
Yeah, awesome. A little more family time, and
yes, got the first grandson, so
awesome.
Enjoying that. His birthday's here on the 23rd. He'll turn 1 year old.
Are you still out hunting, getting them out there in the woods?
I am, and I just have a lot more opportunity now. So we are here to talk about NWTF. So there's turkeys in 49 states in the U.S. and I'm after that 49 hunts. So
awesome.
I'm trying to do about 5 states a year, and so that's my passion right now.
Awesome. That's cool. Well, I want to introduce Derek Alkire. He's with us today. He's an NWTF District Biologist, and you cover a few states. Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what you do, and then we'll dive even deeper into some of this stuff.
Yes, sir. Well, it's good to be here. This is the first time I learned that it's an award-winning WildCast introduction here. Yeah. So my role as a District Biologist, I cover the states of Alabama, Kentucky, and Tennessee, working for NWTF. And my job is to deliver conservation to the ground to help the wild turkey.
Awesome.
Jereme and our volunteers really do a great job of raising funds for conservation, and I want to make sure that the wild turkey is the one benefiting. So we work with great partners across the state like TWRA to work for the wild turkey on a daily basis.
Awesome. Can you elaborate on some of those efforts that you do with the agency and how you partner and that kind of thing?
Sure. Yeah, so we have what we call a super fund, and a super fund is just a pot of money that's managed by our state board, of which Jereme is a part of. And every year we go through a request for proposals process to make sure that those dollars are best use. And I work with Roger Shields, who's the turkey coordinator here at TWRA, and we solicit projects from across the state. Most of those projects are coming from TWRA. And they're public land and private land projects. So we're implementing things like herbicide applications to control invasive species, or savanna restoration, helping after a timber harvest to make sure that we've got early successional habitat. Or this year we've kind of ventured into the private lands sector of things.
Okay, cool.
We purchased some sprayers to go in the back of your UTVs that are going to be kept at Soil and Water Conservation District, so that folks can just go into the office. If you don't have those resources yourself, throw it in the back of your ATV and get some work done on your own property.
Very cool. I had 2 turkeys on my camera the other day, so I'm getting fired up for turkey season.
Yes.
And I may need to do some treatments or take advantage of some of those things for the landowner.
Absolutely. You can get discs. It depends on the office, but there's discs available and sprayers. The NWTF, we have several seed programs that if you're looking to plant some food plots or some native mixes and things that help not only turkeys but quail and pollinators and those things.
Yeah.
Winter's a great time to get to work, especially after deer season ends. You can go in controlling exotics and some of the things you don't want. So it's a great time to be thinking about it. Well, we're always thinking about it.
Yeah. You're out, and it's crazy. We talk about this a lot at the agency, like how much the work that our private lands guys, they'll help out landowners and things, but the work that you put in for turkeys is also great for deer and vice versa, and all, like you said, pollinators and other wildlife.
So many species.
Yeah. So, and as we're coming in, we talk about stop that recreational bush hogging. It's not always about how clean cut it is. The more stuff there is there, the better it is for some of these critters.
Yeah, wildlife looks at it a little bit different than we do. If you looking for a park-like setting or the golf course, that's not what wildlife looks like. We were in Roger's office earlier, and he's got a sign up there that says "Keep it rough." Just weeds are a good thing for wildlife.
Right.
They create habitat, and I know maybe they don't always look the best, but they're very much beneficial for wildlife and what we need.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, for sure.
And for turkeys, it's like a patchwork of different habitats.
Yes.
And it's not just one habitat, but a multitude of them that is actually going to benefit hens, poults, all of it.
You want your areas of your ground you're breaking up, and whether you put any crops there or not, just that broken ground, and then that's benefiting so many other species, your quail and the deer love to come through there and browse on that, just them weeds growing back up and coming in there. So just so beneficial, and just people don't understand that.
What type of things are in the seed mixes? Just curiosity.
A lot of your Coreopsis species, wildflowers, oftentimes you'll hear these mixes called native grass mixes. The reality is you can have too much grass. So it's more forbs and flowers and those kind of things that produce good seed heads. They're high quality protein for deer, and turkeys love them. They grow in the right form. When you think about bunch grasses or upright grasses, the thing about turkeys, especially when they're little, is they got to be able to move. And when you look at things, if you really want to know what it's like for a poult, you lay down on your belly. You need some bare ground in there that they can move between. And, so those mixes are a lot of forbs and flowers like that.
Okay.
Yeah, very cool. All right. Well, let's transition a little bit, Jereme. We mentioned you worked for us for a long time. Great officer. You helped with outreach programs and try to get people outdoors. But now you changed roles a little bit. Like you said, you started a few businesses, but now you're the vice president of the Tennessee chapter for NWTF. Tell us what that looks like, what you're doing there, and some of the benefits that NWTF, the chapters, can be for the state and for the organization as a whole.
Yeah. So, I was always around NWTF, and then as a county officer, I was in Montgomery County for about 20 years before I got promoted. And, worked with all the different wildlife organizations, in the county. And I was lucky enough to get an award from NWTF. And that following year, I was like, I ought to get involved more.
Yeah.
And so I joined the local chapter there in Montgomery County. And my first night at the meeting, they said, "Hey, you're going to be the JEGS coordinator." So I'm like, okay. so went into the fire, you can say, and still got involved locally, become the president there while I was still an officer there in Montgomery County. And then in 2013, I was asked to serve on the board of directors for the Tennessee State Board.
Okay.
And so got on the board in 2013. And like Derek was saying, we're just a bunch of volunteers that come together. And, NWTF is one of the only organizations I know that they go and they raise all this money locally, and it stays here. It doesn't go, and it's not a bad thing that, monies go to different places in the country. But, Rocky Mountain, they're sending a lot of that money out west. Ducks Unlimited, they're sending it up to the potholes.
Yeah.
But the money we're raising here in Tennessee comes back to Tennessee. And so it's an easy sale. And so got on the board, and then about 5 years ago, I guess, I was nominated to become the Tennessee vice president. So next summer, if the board will have me, I'll be taking over as president. And my goal with the chapter is to be more transparent. Coming from state government, we always hear the folks, well, I don't know what's going on. But then the NWTF, they put out these magazines, but not a lot of people know about the state board and what we really, are doing. So I'm trying to bring more folks to the table, what we're doing, and creating more partners, because the more folks working together, the more we're going to accomplish. So that is my big goal. I've got the board, supporting this idea,
Awesome.
And we're trying to reach out and just, full steam ahead.
Well, share some of the statistics and the stats about the chapter. You texted me earlier and told me a few things, but you rank 4th nationally
Yep.
in dollars raised, and even more. The Jake's numbers are up, and share some of that stuff,
Yeah, so-
and maybe even share what Jake's is, and people may not know.
Yeah, sounds great. So Tennessee right now is ranked 4th in the nation for the most net dollars raised. So, and Derek can go into this more in a minute, but, we can take that money and multiply it and turn it into a lot more money. And so, we're proud to hang our hat on that.
Yeah, definitely.
In Tennessee, we're ranked number 1 and more Jakes than any other state. So a Jake is youth 17 years and younger. And most folks, and when I first, heard about the Jake, well, a Jake is a immature,
Yeah.
a male gobbler.
A young turkey.
Yeah. So, that's all I knew. Well, Jake's actually stands for, juniors, knowledge, acquiring knowledge, ethics, and sportsmanship.
That's right.
So, little play on words there.
Yeah, it works.
And, yeah, it does. So, anyway, we're number 1 for the most Jakes, and we have some chapters in the state that do a phenomenal job with bringing kids and getting them involved. And we're working on some more, hopefully, large events in Tennessee. And then we're also number 1 in adult memberships. So
Over 20,000, right?
yes, over 20,000. So. It's a lot of folks that support NWTF that are NWTF members, but might not be involved locally in a local chapter or something like that. So, as a chapter, I'm hoping that we can do a better job of bringing all these folks together and just continue to grow.
Yeah, awesome. Well, and other things, I had some notes here, but you're enhancing, acreage across the state. I think over 30,000 acres have been enhanced since, say, 2018, and then you're opening up hunting areas, 700 plus acres there, and recruiting hunters, over almost 3,000 hunters recruited through the efforts y'all are going through.
Yeah, and Derek was talking about the habitat work. One of the things I come to Derek about a year ago is like, I used to help burn some more wildlife management areas.
Yeah.
Fire is a great thing.
Oh, yeah.
And who doesn't like fire? so anyway, I was like, we need to partner up with some of these entities that's already burning and see if we can burn more and bring more education to show how beneficial fire is to wildlife. So Derek has, done a great job of finding them partners out there.
Awesome. Well, before we dive more into what Derek's been doing and some of the projects that's been happening, tell folks about NWTF. Y'all are going to be around, I guess, in a few weeks, right?
Yes.
So what all's going to be happening?
February 12th through 14th, right?
Yes. So we're coming to Nashville. So, I have been involved at national convention since 2000, twice plus COVID. So 3 times we haven't been in Nashville since 2000. I don't know how many years prior to that. I remember when I was in college and younger, going to Opryland.
It's become the home for this convention.
It is a massive event. And if you don't know what a turkey call sounds like, go to the exhibit hall and you will hear it.
Yeah, there's plenty of turkey calls going on. And this is a big one. This is the 50th
Yes.
That's right.
national convention. And it's been here at the Gaylord in Nashville's been home for a while now, and over 80,000 people last year came through there to go see the vendors and participate in the events. We talk about the calls on the show floor. There's also the national calling contest that you can go in, and if you want to feel bad about yourself, you can go listen to some of the best in the country do it, and it's quite the event.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I've been blessed to go a couple times, and I ran into you last year, I believe it was.
Yep.
Rubbed shoulders there, but it's a fun event, and even if you're not into turkey hunting, there's deer stuff there. There's fishing
everything.
stuff. There's everything.
My wife is the furthest thing from a hunter. She wants to pet every animal and save it, and, but she goes and she's getting all the the candy apples, they have all these booths. She's like, we're going there. So, she's found her niche. So
That's great. Hey, there's something there for everybody.
yeah, but anyone interested in that can go to NWTF.org. And right there on the main NWTF website, we'll have all the information about that. There's nightlife stuff going on. You can just come and go to the show. If you're a NWTF member, you can get into that show for free.
Okay.
To the exhibit hall and things. So all that information's there, and I'd love to have everybody come check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, go check it out, and it's a great event. So one I was looking here. Yeah, one project that you guys have been a huge asset in helping out with is the Hatchie Bottom property acquisition. So tell us a little bit about that. It was announced at one of our recent commission meetings, and the money and things that y'all helped donate to help make it all happen. But share with folks what that is and what's going on there.
I'll let Derek take this, but I'll just precursor with. When I had reached out to Jason to say, hey, how can we...
Jason Maxidon,
Director TWRA, how can we partner up more? How can we make the dollar go further and do more projects across the state? I want to start with TWRA's partnership, because we've been a long partner for years. And talked about a few things, and he said, well, we do have this one project. So I'm like, I'm all for it. Yeah. So we need to get Derek involved in this, and Roger and stuff, and the rest is history. But yeah, Derek can tell you a lot about this.
Well, this is a prime example of what he can offer for agencies and individuals too,
exactly.
The work that's going on there.
Yeah, well, and NWTF is just proud to be a partner in this. None of this stuff happens just with us or just with TWRA. There's a lot of partners involved in this. I mean, if you imagine what it would cost for a WMA of this size in that area, land prices are not going down. No. We know that. But with the power of partnership, this new WMA that was announced, we're going to be able to help. $250,000 is the NWTF commitment. We were able to get $170,000 of that already towards the WMA this year to help get that opened up. That's going to be public access for hunters and fishermen. And it doesn't stop there, which is sometimes what we think about with our WMAs or NWTF as hunters. The hiking opportunities out there. You're talking about the Hatchie River out there, paddling opportunities and things like that. So we're just proud to be a part of the project to allow hunters and conservationists the opportunity to use the land.
Mm-hmm. Well, we talk about it a lot of times, but how is that money that y'all are donating and the members of these chapters and things that are getting in these accounts, how are they being tripled and doubled or whatever how you do that?
Yeah, so we do that a variety of different ways. The biggest way is partnership. Okay. If you've ever heard of PR money or Pittman Robertson dollars, those are dollars that are raised through excise taxes, with license sales, associated with the number of license sales. And those are dollars available that from the state agency. I work with Roger Shields to get access to those dollars. So if NWTF can provide X amount of dollars, then they're matched 3-to-1 in PR. Okay. And that continues to get money to the ground. The other side of that is just grants. There's opportunities for grants to the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation and other entities that we can take our NWTF dollars and apply that as match. So we can, if you see on one of our news releases this past year, 58-to-1 match. So for every dollar that NWTF raised and spent, we were able to get and garner another $58 to get to the ground for the conservation efforts.
Yeah, that's great.
If I get my 401k.
Yeah, right.
Well, and oftentimes these are federal matches. It's not even state dollars coming, and things like that. So it's amazing what can happen with those PR funds and things like that.
Just takes that seed money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very cool. We talked a little bit about the chapter, but what if somebody wants to become a member? How does that go down? How do you learn more about that?
So it's a couple of ways. We have a state website. It is NWTF Tennessee chapter.org. And several years ago, we had a website that wasn't being updated. So leave it to me to open my mouth. So we created one. I am not a web guy, but I found a guy to help us build one, and I tried to go in there and update it.
Found a guy, know a guy.
Yes. Yeah, I know a guy. So on there, last year, I uploaded a list of all 95 counties in the state of Tennessee. And if that county has a chapter, we have, and most chapters have a Facebook page. So we've got a link to that, a hyperlink. They just can click on it, and it'll take them straight to that. So if you're a member or you live in Montgomery County, you don't know me or you don't know somebody already associated, that'd be the first place you go. You go straight there, contact that, click on it, and you send them a message, hey, I'm interested when you're going to have a meeting or how can I get involved. The other way
They'll
is
probably welcome you right in. It's like,
yes,
come on, just
we
try
love-
it out. Come
love
check it out. Yeah.
You know, some of my lifelong friends have come through, you know, my local chapter. You know, this one guy that you would never think, or I would never think he was a turkey hunter. You know, we just wouldn't. And it's like, you know, he's like a brother to
Wait a
me.
minute, you got friends?
Yeah, I got two now. unless you backed out.
Yeah. Barry's thinking about it.
Yeah. So the others, like I mentioned before, there's a lot of NWTF members who are just not involved. So you can go to the national website, you can buy a membership there and get involved. On the national website, you know, they'll have information for Derek and different regional directors on there and things, and you can contact them, and then they'll send over your information to wherever you're living to that local chapter, and then we'll match up that way.
Okay.
A lot of different ways. You know, if you come to Opryland, if you're not already a member, I don't know if they're doing it this year or not with the gift cards.
Yeah, I'm not sure this year,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
if you come there, we'll make sure that we can get you signed up to be a member to go through the show floor. And you know, the one thing I would add to that is Jereme mentioned his best friend, some of his best friends that he came in contact with through turkey hunting. Not all members of the NWTF are turkey hunters. You don't have to be a turkey hunter to be a member of the NWTF. We are
just being a
conservationists.
conservationist, yeah.
That's exactly right. When you think about the projects that we're doing, it's clean water that's made better through some of this, and that kind of ties into our Habitat for the Hatch initiative, which is all about those type of things. You know, how can we benefit the wildlife and wild places as a whole, not just a turkey hunter?
Yeah, well, you want to elaborate more on the Habitat for Hatch? I know we talked about that before the show, before we rolled in, but tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so the Habitat for the Hatch initiative was developed about 3 years ago, and it was developed out of the need for active forest management. You know, one of the things we see across the Southeast, and this is a Southeastern initiative, is that we have a lot of closed canopy forest out there. And there's several reasons for that. And that's good for turkeys in the fall. You know, acorns are great turkey food in the fall. You know, I get a lot of calls from landowners about, hey, I see turkeys during deer season, but I don't see them during turkey season. Well, it's because they're using that different habitat in the closed canopy in the fall for acorns. But what we're really trying to hit on, and the important part for raising turkey populations, is the spring. How do we get them out of the egg and roosting in the trees
On the ground,
so that they can get into the population? And that's what the Habitat for the Hatch initiative is about, is how do we get sunlight to the forest floor? And that's through timber harvest, that's through, you know, prescribed fire that Jereme mentioned, controlling some of that understory species and those type of things. So that's a larger initiative trying to get work done to the ground.
So we talked about how you can get in touch with Jereme and some of the chapter stuff, but what's the direction if anybody wants to talk to you about some of these projects or somebody related, you know, in your office there?
Yeah, well, they can contact me directly. My information's on the state website, the national website, any way that we can help them. We also have 2 foresters in the state of Tennessee. We've got one out of Spring Hill, not too far from here, and then one in the Knoxville area.
Awesome.
They are NWTF employees in partnership with the Natural Resource Conservation Service through what we call our National Forestry Initiative. And they are there to help landowners on a daily basis. They can work with you to meet your needs. They can write you a management plan to help you get paid to do management. You know, sometimes financial hurdles are there and they're very real. But if you can get signed up for these NRCS programs, they'll pay you to prescribe burn. They'll pay you to put in fire lines, to hack and squirt. Some of the things you're probably already doing and paying out of pocket right now.
Or maybe not doing just because you feel like you can't afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Or maybe you don't have the expertise and you just want somebody to come out and meet with you and talk to you about what you can do or to teach you some things. And it's not just NWTF. TWRA, as you mentioned earlier, has private lands biologists that we're proud to partner with that can, if you got land in Tennessee and you need assistance, if you get in contact with us, we'll make sure that we get you to the right person to get you the help you need.
Well, I got 2 turkeys and quite a few deer, so we can figure out what we can do.
We got a long ways to go there.
No, it's you know, and I want to say this too. I mean, I'm on a small track. Even small people with small tracks can utilize your services. to improve that little area, because it can bring them in, or it could be a corridor for them, or
Yeah, you're exactly right there. And when you look at the southeast, it's private land. And it's not giant land holdings of private land like you think about in the West. So I think if everybody had that attitude of, mine's not big enough, well, then we're never going to get it done.
Exactly.
But you start to think about these cooperatives and talking to your neighbor who might be hunting on your line, like you start to cooperate a little bit there with habitat management, you can start to see some real differences in your habitat. So, no part's too small. You're not going to keep turkeys year round, but if you're the guy that's got or gal that's got them in the spring, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
yeah, no doubt. Well, before we run out of time, I saw a little tidbit about some drone stuff that you guys are doing. Fill us in real quick on what that is.
Yeah, drones are they are a great tool for wildlife management.
Okay,
and, we've helped partner with the state agency to utilize drones for habitat management. So that could be spot spraying. These are big drones that carry herbicide and things like that. But it's a lot cheaper than renting a helicopter if you're trying to do things at scale. And you can put a GPS coordinate in there. If you're trying to manage an invasive species that you've got spots of, you can put it in the computer. It'll go over and spray just that spot.
Wow.
So it really adds, one, to the cost effectiveness, and two, to the efficiency of getting the work done. So, and the other thing that is being worked on is the University of Missouri is working on thermal technology to count turkeys.
Oh, okay.
Is there a way that we can utilize drone technology for pulse surveys or population surveys to give us a better idea of what's out there on the landscape?
Well, and that's nothing new to wildlife management. I think thermal imaging, the agency's done that some with deer and tried to do it with elk. It's harder in some of those areas, but yeah, that's a tool that would be beneficial for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just want to make sure that we're using all the tools in the toolbox to get the most work done on the ground for the bird.
Yeah. More turkeys in Tennessee. Everybody wants to see that, right?
That's that. I do. But no, everything you talked about, even the drone stuff to go out and do surveys of poults. I mean, if you've ever tried to look at poults, that's kind of difficult. And I mean, if more people understood that they could do things on their property, I think Tennessee would be stepping in the right direction.
Yeah.
But knowing that they have help out there is a big plus.
What's that website again? NWTF?
Tennessee State Chapter.
TennesseeStateChapter.org. Go check it out. Find these guys on there. Join a chapter. Get some resources on the ground in your area and make it all better for wildlife and turkeys.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you, Jereme. Thank you, Derek, for being here.
Appreciate it, Jason.
This is Tennessee WildCast. Barry, thank you for co-hosting with me today. And,
Absolutely.
We'll see you guys out there next time.
Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org. And follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram. You can invest in Tennessee's wildlife future by purchasing a license at GoOutdoorsTennessee.com. That's GoOutdoorsTennessee.com.